The 90 Day Fiancé universe boasts a stellar list of cast members from across the world who make it one of the most watched reality TV shows ever, but there have been some stars who give the franchise a bad name. The show may have started off as a platform for American partners to celebrate their romances with their international better halves. At times, 90 Day Fiancé cast members reveal their true colors and confirm that success in love was never really what they wanted from the show at all. Their nefarious intentions take center stage, urging viewers to dig deep into their pasts. This leads to the reveal of such terrifying secrets that fans can't help but detest these 90 Day Fiancé cast members. They urge the network to never cast them again and never give them a platform. The network is even questioned about the background checks they may or may not have performed. While fans keep their fingers crossed and hope these cast members don't ever make a comeback, here's a look at the most controversial names in 90 Day Fiancé history that the makers will have a rough time scrubbing off. Angela was probably cast for her age-different storyline and for the fact that she thought Nigeria was the scamming capital of the world and was still flying to Lagos to meet the love of her life. Angela already had experience being on reality TV shows. Her daughter later ended up in prison. Was a part of shows like Trisha and Maury to figure out the paternity of 3 of the children. Angela always showed up in the audience yelling and screaming at Scotty Dean or the men she was having babies with. Angela herself was arrested in September 2018 for speeding. She'd also failed her field sobriety test, but Angela didn't have any other arrests on her criminal record. What makes her a terrible casting choice is the way she behaved with Michael on camera. She wasn't afraid of making Michael feel small because he wasn't American. She verbally berated him, took control of his life, and also charged at him to hurt him. Angela should have been removed from the show the first time she acted violently, and she kept getting cast in more and more spin-offs from 2018 to 2024. Jasmine may not be as notorious as Angela, but she had her own red flags that were wavering from the first episode of 90 Day Fiancé's B90 Season 5 itself. Jasmine and Gino had lied from the start about how they had met despite having met him on a sugar baby website herself. Jasmine had this whole argument with Gino about his associations with sugar babies. Her lies weren't limited to their meet cute. Jasmine had also not had a job from the start of the season, yet claimed that she was fired from her teaching position because of Gino. Jasmine and Gino appeared in before the 90 Days Season 5 and 6, and went on to star in 90 DF Season 10 and later Happily Ever After. Season 8. These 4 back-to-back seasons featuring Jasmine and her endless cries about how she would leave Gino frustrated the audience. She was never going to dump him, at least until she came to the US. She's not even gone to Panama to see the kids she was missing so much on The Last Resort. Season 2. Jasmine introduced her boyfriend Matt Brannies as her friend. Jasmine's lies are seeing no end. Like Angela, viewers have called for Big Ed to be removed from the show plenty of times still. After his initial before the 90 Days Season 4, in which he mistreated Rose Vega, Ed went on to star in 3 seasons of 90 Day The Single Life, A Last Resort Season 1, and 2 seasons of Happily Ever After. Big Ed became a villain for lying to Rose, for making a joke out of her poverty, and for body-shaming her. There are various unverified sexual assault and misconduct allegations lodged against him, which haven't been discussed on the show. Big Ed thinks he is funny and entertaining, just the way Angela does. However, the truth has come to the surface several times when Big Ed's on-screen partners themselves have exposed him. Liz Woods called him a narcissist and exposed him during one of their breakups by leaking a phone call of him belittling her. She had to take antidepressants because of him. Liz looks so much happier now that she's moved on with her new boyfriend. Big Ed is suggesting that his time on 90 Day Fiancé is over. Here's hoping he doesn't return with a new girlfriend. Larissa showed her true colors as soon as she moved to the US. Larissa didn't talk about the kids she had back home for almost an entire season and had not even told her mother-in-law Debbie about it. Colt felt Larissa was a danger to Isif. After all, he hardly knew her. He had proposed to Larissa 5 days after meeting her in person. Colt should have been warned when Larissa declared whoever's against the queen will die during a gathering at their Las Vegas home. Larissa was arrested for the first time on June 190, 2018, a mere 5 days before her wedding to Colt on June 250, 2018. The second arrest came a month later. She claimed her husband was going crazy. However, it was Colt who had visible signs of mistreatment by Larissa. She was charged with battery, domestic violence, and a misdemeanor. And a third arrest followed in January 2019. Colt had another injury on his face, allegedly caused by Larissa. This didn't stop Larissa from being cast in yet another season of Happily Ever After. After her divorce from Colt, Anfisa is one of the most memorable cast members of the franchise, but for all the wrong reasons. She has an army of followers on Instagram now. However, these fans celebrate the life Anfisa built herself. After the show, Anfisa had managed to wipe her slate clean and had seemingly wiped all the bad things she did on 90 Day Fiancé when she was still with Jorge. She had been making big demands from Jorge even before she moved to the US. She was materialistic and only wanted Jorge to keep spending money on her. Anfisa publicly humiliated Jorge. She insulted his appearance. She told him she was marrying him for his money. She may have been honest, but Jorge didn't deserve to be hit on camera when they went to a lawyer's office to get a post-nuptial agreement. Shockingly enough, Anfisa tried defending herself against online backlash by pointing out that Jorge was also guilty of domestic violence because he was neglecting her and wanted total control of the finances in their relationship. Do Americans have more rights than foreigners when it comes to DV? Anfisa had asked her followers on IG. Lauren is one of the newest cast members that fans already think should be cancelled. Lauren's televised interview on the Before the 90 Days Season 7 premiere had him say all sorts of things that made fans feel uncomfortable. Lauren spoke about how he had been in an online relationship with Filipina letterboy Faith for 6 months, but was sleeping with other people. His main intention to hook up with random people was to get a roof over his head. As he was homeless, he also described wanting to be with transgender women who had not undergone bottom surgery. Lauren was interested in the female penis. He was interested in getting some fame through the show, as he was doing interviews even before his reality TV debut. He did a Reddit and was banned from a sub for making terrible comments repeatedly about cis women's rotting genitalia, which is why he prefers to date trans pre-transition women. He also frequently referred to his ex-wife as a terrible person. Lauren has also been accused of abandoning his kids. Here's hoping Faith breaks up with him and he's gone forever from the franchise. Jeffrey is one of the worst cast members from 90DF in recent years. He has been sentenced to 18 years in prison in February 2022. Jeffrey was found guilty of aggravated kidnapping and domestic assault. Jeffrey was also charged with interference with emergency calls. He was locked in a legal battle against his former fiancée after he was arrested in 2019 in connection with a domestic violence incident. Jeffrey had grabbed the victim by the back of the neck and slammed her multiple times into the hardwood floor. He was accused of taking the victim's phone after hitting her. It's worth noting that the incident took place before Jeffrey filmed 90 Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days, Jeffrey had applied for the show, despite having a previous history with domestic violence. Apart from this incident, and despite the abuse charges, he got engaged to Varia Molina in 2020. She was in the courtroom during Jeffrey's sentencing. Varia and Jeffrey were seemingly uninvited from the tell-all due to outrage from fans over his record, but the real reason was never mentioned on the show. Paul also had a shocking criminal past from before he went on 90DF. Paul disclosed to Karine about his past during a scene filmed in Brazil. He had been arrested and sent to prison for arson. He stayed there for 18 months. As a result, he was found guilty of committing second-degree arson in 2014 and burning personal property. Hall's ex-girlfriend filed for a restraining order against him, adding to his controversial past. Hall's criminal past was mentioned a few times on the show. It led to his being considered a domestic terrorist by the Brazilian government. Paul went on to star in more spin-offs, but has not been seen on screen since Happily Ever After. Season 5, he insists he wasn't fired or reprimanded, and claims the network has given him time to deal with his private matters off camera. Ever since his exit, Hall has been involved in plenty more controversies. He and Karine lost custody of their kids after a video leaked showing her abusing him in front of one of them. Paul got himself a teenage girlfriend in Brazil and went missing twice in 2023. Eric Rosenbrook and Dada, considered one of the franchise's most disliked couples, probably even the worst pair to have appeared on the show yet. The Indonesian reality star became the show's villain when she forced Eric to remove his teenage daughter Asha from home. Lida had convinced her husband to stop paying for child support. She didn't like living with the teenager. Fans could never forget the way Lida treated her stepdaughter. Moreover, Alida's stories about her past of her belonging to a wealthy family were called out by fans. The pair left the franchise for good, however. Lida couldn't get rid of her shady personality at all. In October 2023, Lida was arrested for wire theft and fraud, potentially exposing her methods for maintaining her upscale lifestyle. She allegedly stole thousands of dollars from her place of employment, Lauderhead Deco, where she was a bookkeeper. In February 2024, she filed for divorce from Eric and then dismissed it 9 days later. Lida's recent Instagram posts show her posting romantic videos with her husband. Lida continues to prove that she was one of the show's worst casting choices. Mohammed was married to Eve Erlano, who he met on Instagram. Mohammed had approached Eve after noticing her swimsuit photo, and he started controlling what she would wear after he came to the US. Mohammed was looking for a mother, and not a wife. He also forced Eve to follow some of his rules in her house. He didn't want her to be alone in the same room as a man, even if the man was a plumber. Mohammed accused Eve of delaying their wedding and threatened to find a new green card sponsor. The truth was that Mohammed was already cheating on Eve with a woman he met online. The 90 Day Fiancé Season 10 tell-all exposed Mohammed's text to the woman. Eve alleged that Mohammed discussed a U visa with his girlfriend in June 2022 just in case Eve found out about the affair. When she did, Mohammed accused Eve of alleged domestic abuse. The couple eventually got divorced and Mohammed was able to fulfill his dream of living in America. He never got deported, but he did lose his chance of appearing in more spin-offs.